welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Now, don't touch that dial, because this is the Hank Cisco Show. I know you're looking and saying, I'm expecting to see Hank, and Hank is here, even in spirit today. I'm Dr. Lori, and I'm guest hosting for him while he's recuperating from some surgery that he had so that he can get back into bobbing and weaving shape. Now, I'm happy to have with me today on the show members from the Montgomery County Health Department. We have Jan Achenbach and Steve Gerloff. Now, Jan, if you could start, welcome, Jan and Steve.
Thank you.
Start by telling us a little bit about what you do at the Health Department.
Dr. Lori, I'm a disease intervention specialist, and that means that I'm investigating when someone has been diagnosed with a communicable illness. There are over 73 reportable diseases.
Wow.
So when we get a positive lab report, we contact the patient. We try and determine the source of the illness, any risk factors, and also educate the patient.
Okay. Steve, tell us a little bit about what you do.
I'm with Environmental Field Services, and we conduct a variety of environmental inspections, which include restaurants. Any restaurant that you go to in Montgomery County is inspected and approved by the Montgomery County Health Department.
That's good to know. Good to know.
We also inspect swimming pools, which we'll be talking about today, camps, mobile home parks. We conduct environmental inspection complaints of rats, different rodents. We have a mosquito surveillance West Nile virus program that we conduct throughout the county, where we're looking to see the prevalence of the West Nile virus and to prevent breeding of mosquitoes and to protect the residents in that way as well.
Wow. So it sounds like there's a lot going on that I bet a lot of our audience members don't know. A lot of things that go on to protect the members of our county.
Absolutely.
Now, today we're going to talk about recreational water illness. RWI, okay? It's an important topic that I bet a lot of our audience members don't even think about and take for granted. What exactly is recreational water illness?
Well, Dr. Lori, a recreational water illness is an illness that is caused by swallowing, breathing, or having contact with contaminated water. Now, Dr. Lori, when I say contaminated water, what do you picture in your mind?
Like a creek or a flowing canal, maybe that's dirty looking or kind of murky, something that I definitely wouldn't want to go into.
Exactly. You're picturing something that's cloudy.
Yes.
Something that's dirty.
Yep.
Looks brown.
Yes.
And you know not to swallow it.
Yep.
And certainly not to play in it.
Exactly. If I can help it, I don't want to end up in it. You're exactly right.
It looks like a health threat. Well, also, water that is clear, water that appears refreshing, could also be contaminated. It might have very small microorganisms in it that are also a potential health threat.
So that's important to know. When we think about contaminated water, what I explained as brown, murky, ugly, don't want to go there water is in fact something we want to stay away from, but we may not know if water that looks clear, that we can't see anything bad, that isn't brown and murky, that might also be a potential threat, correct?
Definitely. The water at a swimming pool or at the water park, it may contain microorganisms that are contaminating the water, and if you swallow them, you could be infected with a recreational water illness.
See that? So swimming pools and water parks, things like that are where we can get something like this, and that's where we might not be paying attention. What's the most common recreational water illness?
The most common is cryptosporidiosis.
Cryptosporidiosis. Can we call that something smaller? Because I don't think I can keep saying that.
Well, we can call it crypto.
Crypto,
But let me
okay.
give you a little information about what cryptosporidiosis is and what it comes from. It comes from a parasite called Cryptosporidium. Now, if we look at what the word Cryptosporidium means, crypto means hidden. Sporidium means little seed. So put those two together. We have a hidden little seed. And that's what our parasite resembles.
Huh. Now, when you say resembles, hidden little seed, crypto doesn't sound like anything I want a part of anyway, and I bet our audience members think it's a scary sounding thing, but hidden little seed, that's what it appears. Appears how? Because we probably can't see it as consumers, as people going to the pool, as people going to the water park. What do you mean when you say see it?
Well, exactly. You can't see it with the naked eye, but under a microscope, it can be found, and that's how we diagnose that a patient has cryptosporidiosis.
Okay, I gotcha. Now, you alluded to the fact of how we might get a recreational water illness like crypto. Reiterate for us how we can get that.
By swallowing the water.
Okay.
Now, if you're swallowing the water and it has cryptosporidium, the parasite in it, it's going to go into the body and it's going to get stuck in there in the upper intestine. It's going to hang out there. It's going to start to cause symptoms.
Like?
Now, some of those symptoms, doctor, are ones that you can easily see.
Okay.
Vomiting, diarrhea. Immediately when you see that and you feel that, you know you're infected with something.
You might think it's a bug, though.
You
and
might.
You might not necessarily relate it to, a trip to the
Exactly.
pool how many days prior.
Exactly. It could be as many as 1 to 12 days prior that you become infected with the cryptosporidium. But I also want to mention that it causes symptoms that you can't see. Nausea and abdominal pain. And
Those
a
are
lo-
pretty vague. A lot of people have that on
Exactly.
a semi-regular basis, depending on how much food indiscretion they have. Stress can sometimes cause those things, right?
Exactly. And in the summertime, we're typically out in the heat,
Yes.
we're overeating, we're having a good time, and we may not realize that what's causing those symptoms is actually cryptosporidium.
So, how would we know? Would it just be the length of time that those symptoms would be present, those more severe ones, or how do we know? How does our audience member know that oh my gosh, maybe I have that? Because we surely want to educate them, but we don't want to cause a panic.
Exactly. And the only way to really determine is by seeking care from your physician and being tested.
And what kind of test does that include?
Well, it's going to be a stool test.
Okay.
And that will demonstrate whether there is cryptosporidium in the stool. And then we can make recommendations.
Okay. Now, why is it that this tiny hidden little seed, this crypto, why is it that is the most common? Is there a reason why it ends up in pools and things like that, or is it something about the parasite itself?
Well, it doesn't take a lot of crypto to make someone sick, so it only takes a very small amount. Crypto is also isn't affected by chlorine residuals like a lot of other bacteria and things that people would carry and could pass onto a pool. So it's highly resistant to chlorine, particularly levels that swimming pools are normally operating at. It has a little effect on crypto. So that's why it's real important, and we'll talk about those later, things that people can do to prevent that.
Well, it sounds like it's a strong guy. It sounds like it's a hidden
Yes.
little seed, but it's a very strong
Yes.
one. And so, as part of your position here in the county to go around and inspect these pools, what kinds of things do you look for? Do you actually take water samples, or how do you do that?
Yeah, we inspect swimming pools and we follow code, the health code. And the health code has minimum requirements for chlorine residual and pH, which are two of the most important factors for pool chemistry. They kind of work together. Your chlorine residual needs to be at a certain level. We recommend between 2 and 4 parts per million. And then your pH also would have to be at a certain level to help that chlorine do its job. Your pH, we recommend anywhere from 7.2 to 7.6. And the lower the pH, the better the chlorine will work to kill and to oxidize things like crypto.
Okay, so you're measuring not just crypto, but you're measuring levels so that we can say that this is a safe place for people to swim.
Right.
And
We're not testing for crypto when we do our pool inspections. We're doing a general pool inspection. We're not taking water samples and testing for crypto. It's just a grab sample, making sure their chlorine or pH is at the appropriate levels, making sure the water's clear, making sure they have their life-saving devices, making sure it's functioning properly.
So you're checking off the rule list. You're
Yes,
checking
exactly.
off the guidelines.
Exactly.
If by chance you find one of those guidelines for a public pool or a water park is not up to snuff, as we say, when you're inspecting, are there recommendations that you make of what needs to be done? Do you help that particular facility in doing that, or?
Yeah, depending on what we would find, it could be the facility gets closed on the spot until it comes up to the proper standard. If their chlorine residual or their pH is not where it needs to be, that's immediate. Everyone out of the pool need to get it up to the proper levels before we allow people back into the pool. If it's something that's more of a minor, we can do a 2-week follow-up, depending on what the violation
Severity
is.
of the problem.
Right.
Okay, so our residents can be assured that, if they show up at the pool one day and it's closed because there's some work being done in the way of making it a safer place, that they really shouldn't be angry about that,
Right.
that it's in their best interest. Now, Jan, do our residents here of Montgomery County, do they have to worry about crypto this year? Is there anything about this year versus any other that we have to worry about with regard to crypto?
Well, Dr. Laurie, last year, in 2007, there were 136 confirmed cases of cryptosporidiosis in Montgomery County.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
Yes, yes.
And yes, this year we will have even more confirmed cases. That's actually a good thing. We do want our Montgomery County residents seeking care from their physicians being tested and determining exactly what is causing their illness. A quicker diagnosis will allow us to determine source and make recommendations that are appropriate.
Now, do the diagnoses come from, you confirm a case? Is
Yes.
it that you go and then discuss with the Montgomery County resident their history over the past, 7 to 14 days, what they did? How does that investigation actually happen?
Well, what happens is the disease intervention specialist will get the reports. We'll contact the patient, and we'll take a history of 1 to 14 days prior to the onset of symptoms. So we determine first, when did you start to feel ill? And again, we're going to find out not only the seen symptoms, but the unseen symptoms. Then we're going to count backwards, where they've been. Not just what water sources, but also food sources. We don't want to leave any stone unturned. We're also going to investigate maybe close contacts within the family. Have they been anywhere? Possibly our index patient does not swim at a pool, but possibly their child does, and they're changing diapers, or they're becoming infected in that way.
So what you're saying is you don't have to be the one who swallowed the water or was at the water park. But if you live or come in close contact, frequent close contact, you can actually be at risk for getting this.
Absolutely, because cryptosporidiosis is passing through the system. So if we're not practicing good hygiene and we get it on our hands, we might pass it to another individual.
Wow, and that's something else that we need to be aware of.
Right, and as I said, we do restaurant inspections. Another way you can get crypto is through ingesting it from some food handler not washing their hands properly. You can get it from person-to-person contact and also person-to-animal contact as well.
Wow. So animals
So it's
can
more than
harbor
just
this.
it's more than just a recreational water illness, but it's how we do more commonly see it.
Now, this topic is meant to educate our audience. So we don't want to cause, widespread fear. We want to educate them to let them know that, yes, our health department is inspecting our restaurants, our public facilities, our water parks, and our pools to make sure that they're healthy. So this is not meant, to be a panic thing in any way, shape, or form.
No.
But it's also meant, and I hope that our audience gets that from this topic today, that if you do have signs or symptoms. I tell my patients all the time, if you notice something that's going on in your body that you don't feel is right, by all means, call your doctor. Seek medical attention. It's more important to be safe than sorry. And as you said, if there's, outward symptoms, that's one thing. But if you just kind of feel a little bad and you're not quite sure what's going on, but it doesn't go away, perhaps it could be something like this that is treatable but needs to be diagnosed.
Right.
So-
What we want to do is we want to educate the people, the public and the swimming facilities about crypto. It's not meant to scare anyone. The more they know, the more we can prevent the illness.
Now, you said the more we know, the more we can prevent it. what kind of ways can our audience, if they say, I don't want any parts of this crypto, it sounds bad, I don't want myself or my family, but we enjoy doing activities, we enjoy doing summer things, we eat out, so what can our audience members do to help prevent it?
Well, the biggest thing is when you are swimming is do not swallow pool water. It's not drinking water. I know, it will get into your mouth, just do not swallow it. That's a big key. Another thing is if you are ill, particularly with diarrhea, do not swim in the pool. Do not allow your children to swim in the pool. And that's huge because, when it's 95 degrees outside, it's tough to keep the kids out of the pool, but as a parent, you need to do that to protect not only yourself, the other swimmers in the pool. And good hygiene is always key. Hand washing.
Hand washing, and that's always,
absolutely.
with the common cold, that's important. So,
right.
With something bigger and meaner like crypto,
right.
equally as important.
Right, and if you do have children at the pool with you that are in diapers, we recommend not changing the diapers at poolside. Hopefully the facility will have a changing station for you to utilize.
Like a restroom or a changing
Yes,
station that's away from
to
the
use
public
it there,
and the water.
making sure the child is clean prior to going back into the pool, and again, washing your hands.
Okay, important. That's good, important information. Now, we talked about what our audience members can do to help prevent any crypto contamination, but what can swimming pool operators, people that are in charge of these, is there something they can do to prevent it, number one, before you come and inspect things and, tell them, you need to, do A, B, and C before we can let you open, because that's going to disappoint some residents, or what can they do to maintain things so that we can minimize the risk?
Right, there's a lot that they can do, and the big thing that we're always going to talk about is education, whether it's educating their staff, which we would hopefully they are doing, as well as the patrons as they're coming in and out of the pool, what they should be doing, the hygiene practices, showering before getting into the pool, things of that nature. The swimming pools can also just make sure their pool is functioning properly, making sure their levels are where they need to be. One thing they can do is look at their pool, making sure that it's operating properly, making sure the filtration is operating properly, making sure that the turnover is where it needs to be. And when I say turnover, I mean every drop of that water has to go through that filter within a certain amount of time, and making sure that the higher turnover rate, the more water is being filtered and it's being sanitized properly.
And so it's cleaner, if you will.
Yes.
Okay, and is that part of your checklist when you are out to inspect?
There's minimum requirements for turnover, but the minimum doesn't mean you have to operate at the minimum. That's the minimum. We would hope people would go above and beyond the minimum, and that would help alleviate a lot of these recreational water illnesses. We would also like pools to come up with policies and procedures with dealing with incidences at the pool that they may encounter, such as, unfortunately, fecal accidents that happen at the pools. Hopefully that doesn't happen on everyday occurrence, but it does happen. And we would like the pools, and they should have policies and procedures, and their staff should know what they need to do
and reporting
when that happens.
Okay.
And CDC has guidelines, Montgomery County Health Department has guidelines on what the pools need to do if someone would go to the bathroom in the pool,
right.
Unfortunately. And the pool needs to educate their staff on exactly what they need to do, and this will help prevent crypto incidences in the pool if they react in a timely fashion.
Now, can our audience members assume, and I always hate to use that word because we're always leery of that, but if they go to a public pool, is there something that tells them that this pool or this water park, this facility, is up to snuff in terms of the health department inspection? Is there something that, a certificate that's displayed, or do we just kind of assume that because it's open, that it's okay?
Well, every public swimming facility, and public swimming facility is definition put out by the state of Pennsylvania. Your private pools, your pool at your house, obviously we don't inspect that.
Right.
We are only inspecting pools such as your hotel pools, your pools at high schools.
High schools, like here.
Your community type pools. They all have a license from the state of Pennsylvania. If they're issued that license, the Montgomery County Health Department will go out and inspect that pool. One other thing that pools are required to have is the Pennsylvania Code hanging up and at the disposal of the patrons, so you can always request to look at that and see what the standards are and how the pool is supposed to be operating.
So it may be visible, but if it's not, it should be easily accessible if
Yes.
somebody were to ask about
Yes.
that. Okay, important to know. Now, what is the health department itself doing to try to help prevent crypto outbreak? If you said, Jan, that this year we're expecting even more than the 136 cases we had last year, what kind of preventative? As a physician, I always say prevention is the best treatment for anything. It's the best medicine. So is the health department doing anything to help to prevent crypto?
Absolutely. We're working with pools to inform them about what they need to do, how they can inform their members and their staff. We're also attempting to educate the public on what they can do. It's mainly education and reaching out to the community, getting that message out there so that everyone knows how they can prevent getting crypto themselves and also prevent spreading it to others.
Shows like this allow us to educate the public, and as Jan said, we actually have on May 16th a workshop with pool operators. We've invited every single pool operator, public pool operator in Montgomery County to a workshop where we're going to educate them on crypto and preventative measures and things that they can do to hopefully prevent crypto from popping up in their swimming pool. Because if it does, their pool usually is closed for a period of time, and they don't like that. Their swimmers don't like that.
Residents don't like it, that's right,
Right.
especially when it's pool,
But it's-
summertime.
But it
sure.
is necessary if crypto does pop up in the pool. They generally have to superchlorinate that pool for a long period of time, and we're talking minimum 12 hours or 13 hours to as many as several days, depending on what level they would raise that chlorine to. So we educate them on exactly what they need to do, and hopefully they all show up. If they don't, we have Plan B. We have a packet of information we're going to deliver to them and make sure they still get the information.
So that's great. So it sounds like the health department's taking a proactive approach
Right.
this year prior to the opening of the pool,
Right.
inviting the operators to learn at a seminar, and if they can't attend, then you send them information packets. So you're doing everything that you can to kind of
Right.
avoid it before it starts.
Right, and we're going to have information on the county website, the health department website, information that they can download, samples of signs and things that pools can hang up at their facility to constantly remind the patrons on what they should be doing as far as, again, good hygiene practices, changing diapers, and things of that nature, to constantly remind them of the good practices. So, again, if the pool doesn't have a crypto, they're trying to prevent it and to constantly remind them throughout the season.
Important information to know. Now, where can our audience members, you said that there's information there and signs posted for operators to kind of hang up at their place of business, their pool, their water park, to educate, remind patrons of what they can do. But, where can our audience members get more information?
The health department website's Montco, PA, MONTCO, PA.org/health. And we're going to, if you go on there right now, you may not see anything. It's in the works right now. We're going to be having links and a lot of information regarding crypto.
Good. So we talked today with Jan and Steve from the Montgomery County Health Department about recreational water illness, and particularly crypto, which is a particularly nasty, strong parasite that looks like it can pop up in a restaurant, in a swimming pool, in a water park, and when we get ready for summer, we look forward to those kinds of things, eating at the snack bar, at the pool, and going to the public pool, and spending time at fun water parks. And so it's important that we know symptoms to look for with a recreational water illness such as crypto, not to ignore it, not to be afraid to call your doctor and seek medical attention, because reporting a disease like crypto is important for the health of our entire county. It's important for you not to spread the bug. So it's a two-way street. Montgomery County Health Department is taking the steps they need to keep you safe by performing inspections and providing information on their website. You need to do your part as well, as do us as citizens of Montgomery County, to obey the regulations of public facilities and hand washing, do the simple things that we can do to avoid this.
Right. It's not just the pool operators, it's not just the patrons, it's not just the health department, it's all of us together working as a team.
We have to do everything we can to stay healthy. For those of you that haven't seen my shows, I'm Dr. Lori, and I am a breast specialist, and so I encourage overall health to all of my patients, and Montgomery County Health Department is also keeping an eye on your health. We wish Hank a speedy recovery, but even in his absence, he's keeping you safe, keeping you educated, and making sure that you stay healthy with the Montgomery County Health Department. I want to thank Jan Achenbach and Steve Gerloff for joining us. And Hank, we hope to see you soon. We have to salute you to health because that's one of our topics, and particularly today. Hank, best of health. We'll see you back soon. Salud.
Who got the pizza?